Hi, I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation and welcome back to the Hive. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at this Aqara smart video doorbell. As always, we're going to take it out of the box. We're going to take a look at what's in the box. We'll talk about some of the features and we'll get it set up and explore the device. Now, while it's not super compatible with Home Assistant, we will talk a little bit about how you might be able to get around that if you so desire. So while I roll the intro, why don't you take a moment to subscribe? And if you hit the bell icon, you'll get notified when I release new videos each week. While you're at it, if you like what I do here and you want to support the channel, there's some affiliate links to smart home gadgets that you can buy for your own smart home, including the Aqara Smart Video Doorbell G4. And you can support the channel at the same time without it costing you any extra. Or you can support the channel directly through my Buy Me a Coffee link. Of course, affiliate links and my Buy Me a Coffee link can all be found on my website, hivemindautomation.com.au. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. So about a week ago, I got a message from my father-in-law saying, "Hi Stu, I know you're busy, but when you have a moment, can you give me some advice on wireless doorbells?" Now at the time, I hadn't really thought too much about smart doorbells because our setup currently uses a Xiaomi Zigbee button that's paired back to the Xiaomi hub to sound a chime. And then because the Xiaomi hub hooks into my Home Assistant, I can then detect those button presses in Home Assistant and trigger other automations like making announcements on the Amazon Echo devices or flashing lights on and off if I wanted to go down that path. That said, I have been thinking about a more advanced smart doorbell for a while, but my circumstance is obviously a little bit different from my in-laws. To start with, they don't have much in the way of smart gear in their home as it stands right now. They don't run Home Assistant on a Raspberry Pi or any other kind of server. And they definitely don't have any power over Ethernet. And for anything that we're going to install there, I obviously want to make sure that we're going to implement something that is as easy as possible for them to use because, and I might pay for this if they're watching, I want to minimize the amount of support calls that I end up having to field. So anyway, after getting the message from my father-in-law and defining some of his requirements, I did some research and I recommended this Aqara Smart Video Doorbell G4. Now, there were some questions also about UFI, so I did a little more research and still ended up landing on the Aqara Smart Video Doorbell G4. On Amazon, it's currently $237, and I'll pop an affiliate link in the video description. And while the base model UFI is cheaper at Bunnings for $179, I feel like there's a few compelling features with the Aqara. Firstly, the Aqara does provide an option of hard wiring the doorbell unit if you decide that you don't want to have to swap out the batteries anymore, or if perhaps you're replacing an existing hardwired doorbell that already has the wires there. They do make the claim that the batteries inside here last for 4 months at a time, but their literature states that this is based off 35 device wake-ups and 6-second event video recordings per day, which may not be quite so realistic. But if you're okay with buying 6 AA batteries every couple of months, then you'll probably be okay. It is worth mentioning as well, though, that if you want to turn on constant recording with this unit, it's only available if the outdoor unit is hardwired to power. And it's also worth mentioning that if you do have the unit hardwired to power, the batteries in here can act as a backup so that you can still record things when the power is out. Now, I do think for a battery powered option, I would probably prefer 6 AA's instead of a built-in battery that's charged by USB, because it's going to be a couple of minutes to swap the batteries out instead of having to take the outdoor unit inside to charge for a couple of hours. Now, I did initially think that the SD card for video storage would be in the outdoor unit for both the Eufy and the Aqara, running the risk of being stolen by a hooligan who wanted to knock off your doorbell with a hammer. But it does turn out that both companies have been clever enough to realize that that's a bad idea, and they've put the SD card slot in the indoor unit, or the chime or repeater devices. The chime unit that holds the SD card is powered by a USB Type-C port, and while I do feel that there's a missed opportunity here to include an option to power from existing doorbell wiring, it'd certainly be possible to either source or build a converter from that existing doorbell wiring to USB-C power delivery if you wanted to go down that path. Now, apparently there's a future update coming to add support for recording to an SMB file share on your network, which will be a great added feature so that you can take SD cards out of the equation as well. So while the indoor doorbell chime that's included does take a micro SD card for local storage, another compelling feature about this unit is that it works with Apple HomeKit, specifically HomeKit Secure Video, meaning that you can record straight to iCloud. From some other reviews I've seen of the Aqara Smart Video Doorbell G4, the responsiveness of the Aqara is significantly better than the Eufy and some of the other doorbells that I've seen, sending the push notifications in a far more timely manner, meaning that you're not going to miss out on an alert for an event as it happens. Now, another future update that is coming for this doorbell is Matter support, making it far more flexible. The requirement here is for the Matter spec to support video, but that is coming down the line pretty soon, I believe. The Aqara Smart Video Doorbell G4 is already supported by Amazon and Google Home, so if you're in any of the three major ecosystems, you're pretty much good to go. There's also face detection done on the device to identify people that are known to you and potentially send that information in the alerts that you receive from the device. However, I think that that is probably not going to enter into the discussion for this video. We might look into that in a future video. Now, in terms of prerequisites, there's not really too much for this device, and that's deliberate. You're going to need a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network. You'll need a way to power the outdoor unit. So because the outdoor unit comes with 6 AA batteries, you're already halfway there. And the indoor unit is powered by USB, so it's not hard to get power for that. I'm going to use this old iPhone charger with the USB Type A port here. So let's start now by taking a look around the outside of the box. So on the front, we have Aqara, works with Apple Home, a picture of the outdoor unit and the indoor unit, Smart Video Doorbell, and then the same in French, and G4. A smart video doorbell that can be wired or battery powered. It supports HomeKit Secure Video, Amazon Alexa, and Google Home, and has built-in local AI that can be used in automations, and then the same again in French. Over on the right-hand side, we've got these kind of key features here. So we've got a 162-degree wide angle and 1080p resolution, HomeKit, Google, Alexa, and IFT, micro SD storage up to 512 gigabytes, 95 decibel chime repeater included, on-device face recognition and logs, face loitering and tamper alarm, free cloud storage of up to 7 days, and a wired connection or up to 4-month battery. So that's that 4-month battery that we mentioned before. On the back, we've got some specs. The ones that I do want to call out here is 1080p video resolution, 162-degree angle. The wireless protocols are 802.11 BGN on 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. And wired input is 12 to 24 volts AC at 0.2 amps, 50 or 60 hertz, or 8 to 24 volts DC at 0.5 amps. Operating temperatures -18 to +50 degrees Celsius, and operating humidity 0 to 95% relative humidity. The micro SD card that is not included does need to be a class 10 or above and up to 512 gigabytes. And what's in the box, we'll put that on screen. It does say here, video streamed from your camera and iCloud is end-to-end encrypted to your devices, so only you and the people you share your Apple Home app with can view it. To control this HomeKit-enabled accessory, the latest version of iOS or iPadOS is recommended. Controlling this HomeKit-enabled accessory automatically and away from home requires a HomePod, HomePod Mini or Apple TV set up as a home hub. It is recommended that you update to the latest software and operating system. HomeKit Secure Video requires a supported iCloud Plus plan and a HomePod Mini or Apple TV set up as a home hub. It is recommended that you update to the latest software and operating system again, and Apple Watch, HomeKit, HomePod Mini, Siri, iPad, iPad Air, and iPhone are trademarks of Apple, etc. Same again in French. We've got a little sticker in the bottom right here about the importer. On the left-hand side, we've got HomeKit compatible battery doorbell with local AI, and then in a bunch of other languages, we've got Russian, French, German, Spanish, Italian, Korean, Japanese, and Chinese, I believe. And just some details here, so barcodes, etc. On the top, it just says, please open the box from the bottom, and then again in French. And on the bottom, we've got a little bit more information, some manufacturer details, and we've also got some compliance information and some recycling details here in French only, bizarrely enough, but that is okay. Okay, so with the outside of the box covered off and following the instructions that we saw on the top of the box, we're going to open the box from the bottom. So I'm going to just cut this little plastic dot that's on this edge here. Doesn't look like there's any more, and we'll pop this flap up and open the top of the box. And we've got a little warranty card, Australia and New Zealand warranty. And so that's kind of helpful. We'll lift up that flap there and slide out. We've got a user manual here and the outdoor unit. I'll just pop that there for now and slide out that piece of cardboard. And then inside this box here, we have our indoor unit. We have our 2, 4, 6 AA batteries there. We've got our USB type A to type C cable there. There's this 20-degree wedge mount so that you can mount the unit at an angle on the front wall if you need to. We'll pop that aside there. We've got some wall anchors and self-tapping screws there. And we've got some little self-tapping screws. I think those might be for the unit itself. And there's a little screwdriver here for the screw on the side of the unit. I'll just pop those aside. We'll see if there's anything else inside here. No, that is everything inside the box. So we'll just pop those aside. Now, bearing in mind that I do need to return these to my father-in-law so that he can install them at his house. So we will make sure that we respect the packaging rather than destroy everything. So I'll take everything out of the packaging and we'll get that set up. Okay, so here we have the 3 main units here. We've got the indoor unit and we've got, the build quality feels okay. So there's a little button on top here. I'm assuming that's maybe a reset button of some kind. And there's a sticker on here, just the manufacturer's details. On this edge, we've got a micro SD card slot and our USB Type-C port. I'm going to take this micro SD card and pop that into the slot here. And it's a standard spring-loaded micro SD slot. So we've got that in there. And we've also got our HomeKit pairing QR code at the bottom there. I'll get to the main unit in a second. This is our wedge mount. So that actually just allows us to mount the doorbell at a 20-degree angle. It's theoretically possible that you could probably 3D print something like this if you wanted to change that angle a bit. But it's nice that they do include at least a 20-degree angle. I think that it maybe would be better if you could also get maybe multiples of these so you could stack them together and get a different angle on the mount there. So looking at the unit itself, we've got this nice big press button here, and it's quite tactile, it's very clicky. And we've got our camera here at the top, and you'll note here that there's a bump, and I'm guessing that's the passive infrared sensor, and the big black ring around the outside I'm guessing is for infrared illumination there. There's a tiny little pinhole microphone there, and there's a peely sticker on the front. I'm not going to peel that off for the purposes of this video. I'll let my father-in-law take care of that. We've got a speaker on the left-hand side here. On the back is just the mounting hardware. On the right-hand side, we've got this little flap here, and underneath that flap, we've got our little security mounting screw, and it's not a real proper security screw. I do kind of wish that this was maybe a Torx bit or something that would be less likely to be easily accessible by a thief to then kind of undo that screw and then potentially just kind of slide, I think, yeah, so slide up and then take this back plate off, and that is how we get into the battery compartment. And we've got our hard wiring terminals here for if we were going to add the hard wiring function. There's a reset button there. This here looks like it's, okay, that's actually not too bad. That looks like it's a tamper switch. So at least if someone does come and undo this screw and take your doorbell away, that tamper switch is going to fire and hopefully capture the face of the person who's doing that. So you've got your spot for your 6 AA batteries in the back here. And last thing to mention here on the very bottom is our HomeKit pairing code and a sticker for the manufacturer here. Now, checking the HomeKit pairing code on both of these, it does appear to be the same HomeKit pairing code. So that is a good start there. All right, so it's a couple of weeks later. I unfortunately did lose some of the footage from the original setup, but it's a couple of weeks later now at my in-laws' place, and we're actually going to install the doorbell. Now, we are in a little bit of luck because this existing Skybell happens to have a powered mount here. So there's existing power here, and I know where the other end of that is, and I've checked it, and it is a 12 volt DC input, and we know that with the Aqara doorbell it requires 8 to 24 volts DC input. The other thing, of course, is that here we may not necessarily need to install the AA batteries because there's a solar system here and they also have a solar battery. So the likelihood of there being a power outage is pretty slim. The other thing, of course, is that if there is a power outage, the indoor unit would be offline as well. So where the SD card is, there may not actually be any recordings during that power outage. In this case, at least, I'm just not going to worry about the batteries. I'll leave them with my father-in-law. If he wants to install those, I will let him do that. So what I am going to do, though, is I'm going to need to disconnect the power from the existing doorbell here, and we'll take this mount off. And it kind of looks like we might be in luck with regards to where the existing holes are, because we might be able to reuse these existing holes for the Aqara doorbell, but I'll go and disconnect power from here and then sort that out. So I'll just undo these 2 connection screws here, and we'll undo this screw here so that we can take this mount off the wall. So because we have existing wiring, we need to snap out this black square in the middle here, and there's 4 tabs around the outside that you just snap off, and then I just need to line this up and see where I need to drill holes. So kind of looks like we might be able to go about there and somewhere in there. So I'll just mark the brick here. Now it is kind of near the edge of the brick, so this might be a little bit funky, but we'll see how we go. All right, so I've marked where I need to cut the hole, and I've just popped a little flag on the end of my masonry bit here so that I can see the depth that I need to drill to, and I'm just going to drill that hole now. Okay, so hole is drilled, and we can reuse the other hole. So I'll pop in this masonry anchor that feels a little bit loose. Hopefully that will tighten up when we put the screw in, and I'll grab the backing plate and the original screw that we took out. I'll start with that. So we need the cables through here, and I'll pop the original screw in there and tighten that down. Okay, so we put the second screw in. I'm just going to round about there, and I'll just tighten those screws down so that it's well and truly on there. So that bracket's on there pretty well now. Don't think it's moving anywhere, which is pretty good. So being that this accepts both AC and DC, I don't think I have to worry too much about the polarity of the cables here. I might just strip these a little bit longer so there's a bit more of a tail on them. Okay, so I've just stripped those nice and long. I can always nip them down a little bit later if I need to. Proper twist it up nicely. So I've just backed off the two connection screws now. This is going to be a little bit tight for me to get in with the wiring. So might have my head in the way, so I do apologize if that is the case. And I'll tuck the wiring. I'm not sure how well you can see on camera how that's set up, and I'll just put the doorbell on like so. All right, so that's more or less how it's going to look when it's done. I'm going to go plug in the power and see if it is working, and we may just need to invert the polarity if there's a problem. Okay, so it's powering up. The blue ring is flashing away around the outside, and I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but it should be ready to go. Now, I'll plug the indoor unit in just over here so that we can quickly test it, and then we will go grab my father-in-law's phone and we'll set it up. Okay, so we've installed the Aqara Home app. We're going to open that for the very first time. We're going to read and agree to the terms of use and privacy policy. And we've got a refreshed visual design, choose from diverse cards, adapts to more devices. We've got multiple themes. 4.0, a brand new interpretation, different for every individual. And we'll just tap start now. And we'll leave it on the Oceania server. You could choose whatever is more relevant for you. And we're going to now need to either set up an account using an email address and password, or apparently we can use HomeKit mode here as well. I'm going to set up an account just so that we can see how that works. So I'll tap sign up. We'll enter the email address. Okay, it would like to send the notifications. We'll tap allow, and it would like to send critical alerts. We'll also tap allow there. Overviews moved here. We'll tap next. Click here to manage your board. Next. Long press any card to explore. Got it. Okay, so we're at the home screen now of the Aqara app, and we'll just tap Add Accessory. And on the security camera tab here down the bottom, we've got Smart Video Doorbell G4. I'll tap that, I'll tap Agree and Continue. And we already heard before the voice message, ready to connect, please open the Aqara Home app. I'll tap that and I'll tap Next Step. I would like to access my home data. I'll tap OK. And we'll leave that at My Home. I'll tap Next Step. And we're going to scan the HomeKit pairing code on there. And we've got Doorbell add to Apple Home. It's connecting to the doorbell, and this may take a few minutes. So the LED on the indoor unit has gone kind of bluey purple there. So I think that means that it's doing its thing. Just while that is figuring itself out, I'm going to put the captive nut in the side there. And I'll put the rubber cover in, and I'll peel off the camera cover. It says accessory not found, so I'm not sure what that's about. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reset the base station, make sure that we get our pairing.
Ready to connect. So please open the Aqara Home app.
Ready to connect, please open the Aqara Home app. We're adding it to My Home in the Home app, and we'll scan the QR code on there. Doorbell add to Apple Home.
Wi-Fi connecting, please wait.
Wi-Fi connecting, please wait. So that's good. It's better than we had last time. So the account found successfully. So doorbell location, I'll put it at the entrance, I think is probably the most ideal. We'll tap continue, and we'll just change the name. So we'll go, just call it doorbell. I don't think we need it to have anything else there. Tap continue, and choose when this camera streams and records. So when home stream and when away stream, we can change that to allow stream and allow recording. And it requires an iCloud Plus subscription for that. So we don't have an iCloud Plus subscription on this account. We'll just leave it at stream. Chime doorbell is turned on, so your physical doorbell will sound when someone rings the bell. We can turn off that doorbell chime so that it only rings on other HomeKit accessories. We'll tap continue there, doorbell added to My Home, and we'll tap done. It's binding the device, and that is now done. And accessory name is Smart Video Doorbell G4. I'm going to change that to just doorbell. Tap OK, and the location, put that in the living room just for now, and tap next. So we've got video doorbell, add a card to the homepage board on the homepage, new board. We won't worry about that. We can change the icon if we want. We can change the name, all of those kinds of things. We'll just tap done, and we've got the video doorbell. It's in the living room, and we are now set to go. So now if I go and press the button on the outdoor unit, we get the door chime. And if I drill in here, it goes Aqara Home would like to find and connect to devices on your local network. We'll allow that permission, and supports linkage with other devices, enabling quick viewing, control of other devices within the current page. I'll just ignore that for now. Go to more linked device control for configuration. We've got it. So we've now got a live view of the doorbell here, and if I wave my hand past, you see we have that feed running. The latency is probably a little bit high at the moment. You can see in the top right hand corner the streaming rate, so that may just be to do with the indoor unit not having necessarily the best Wi-Fi connection indoors here, but I think it should be okay. So we can take a picture, we can record here. It asks for access to photos. We'll allow access to photos there. And we can record that. It says the video is too short. We can take a picture. Screenshots being kept in albums. We can call the front door. It asks for access to the microphone. We'll tap OK. And we can also change to funny sounds like the original voice, uncle, robot, or clown. I'll just hang up that there. So on monitor in the bottom left here, we can see that you can upgrade cloud storage, store up to 30 days as low as $4.99. We'll close that up. But then we've got our timeline here, so we can actually view our recording timeline if we wanted to. And you can see me pressing the doorbell button there. And there's service there. That service button is just if we want to turn on cloud storage. But we can back out there. We can take that full screen. My recording's not going to pick that up properly. We can listen to the sound from the front doorbell. And I'll just stop that and play there. And you can pause and play there. So we just paused the playback. That brings us back to the front page, just showing us the preview there. And down the bottom here, we've got home accessories. We've got automations. So we can set up an automation. We've got scenes, and we've got our profile. So drilling back into the video doorbell, if I tap more down here, we've got doorbell ringtone, and we can see the different events. We can edit that and so delete that, we'll delete that. We can delete that recording there. We can back out here. We can see our quality is set to 1080. You can change it to 720, or we can set it to auto. And the 3-dot ellipsis in the top right-hand corner lets us change some settings here. So we've got the doorbell living room. We can change the name, the location. The official name is shown there. We've got frequently asked questions, device privacy policy, and the accessory ID and the firmware version there. We've got function settings, so we can see the doorbell signal is very good. We can see doorbell settings, so we can turn the indicator light off. We can turn the voice broadcast and call volume all the way up. So that's now at 100%. We've got SD card storage. It's currently got 28 gig available. I'm going to format that and tap OK. And that is going to just reformat the card that's inside there. Our record mode is record continuously, and it'll then loop record afterwards. And we've got the network attached storage function in here as well. So if we had access to network attached storage on this network, we could connect to that network attached storage and save our videos there. Formatting the SD card, I will hit OK on that. That should have started that process. We've got power frequency here, so if there's a stroboscopic phenomenon on the screen, we can change the power frequency to 60 Hertz. Here in Australia, it's 50 Hertz, so that's fine. We've got a high temperature alarm and a low temperature alarm that will send a push notification to the phone if there is one of those states detected there. And we've got working mode is currently in external power supply mode. If we had the batteries installed, we could put it into power saving mode or normal mode there, but because we've got an external power supply, we don't need any of that stuff there. So backing out of doorbell settings, we've then got ringtone settings. We can change the ringtone volume or customize our ringtone if we wanted to. We can change to 3 different types of ringtones. So we had the standard one before. Ringtone 2 is then that. Or we've got ringtone 3. I'll just go back to ringtone 1 for now, and we can change the ringtone volume. I'll turn that all the way up, and we'll just back out there. We've got video settings here as well, so we can put a time watermark there. I'm going to turn that on so that we've got the time watermark. We've got lens correction that will try to warp the image back so that it is not as distorted at the edges, especially. Infrared night vision is currently set to auto switch. And we've got privacy occlusion area as well, so we can specifically block out certain parts of the camera if we wanted to remove those from the video. So you get up to 3 privacy occlusion areas, but we'll just leave it as is. Back out there, that was our video settings. Now we've got alert settings. So we can do face alerts. If we were to turn on our face detection, we could turn that on. We would need to install faces into the app itself. I think face detection might be something for a different video though. We've got loitering alerts. So the notification can be sent when an infrared induction is triggered. I'm going to turn that on, and it's also going to, we can also then turn recording on. So if someone stays for more than 3 seconds, this detection sensitivity is low, and that's all day, every day, and detection frequency of 15 seconds. So that's going to send a push notification if it detects someone just standing at the front door. When the doorbell rings, we can also have a push mode, recording mode, so it's going to send a push notification when someone rings the bell, and it'll start recording when someone rings the bell. There's also a do not disturb mode, so we can turn do not disturb mode on for specific periods of time, and if that is enabled, the doorbell just won't ring during that period of time. I'll leave that off. I'll turn on tamper alerts, force disablement alarm, so it'll give an alarm and send a notification if the doorbell's forcibly dismantled. It'll also push and record at that same time as well. So that's some alert settings there. We've got face management, so we could install some faces in there for the face detection. Linked device control, we don't have any other devices, but if we had an Aqara smart door lock, we could link that as well. Some security settings here, so we can turn on a password or we can change our password here. I will leave that off and prevent accidental deletion. So if I turn that on, the below accessory can only be deleted by the app. I'm going to leave that on. And device offline notification. So a notification will be sent if the device is offline for a period of time. So I've turned that on. So that was security settings. So that's all the function settings. We've got albums. So we can see we've got push video albums and we've got screenshot recording albums. So I can drill in there. That's the screenshot we took before. I'll just delete that. We don't need that. And we'll back out. We've got network information, so we can see the IP address, the MAC address, all of those useful things there. We've got firmware upgrade. It's checking for any firmware updates. I did do a firmware upgrade a couple of weeks ago, but it does appear to have a new update. So there's a fix of audio jamming when the phone is using a mobile data network, optimizing the reporting mechanism for high and low temperature alarms, and filtering out false alarms, and fixing the issue of video not being able to live stream due to abnormal recording in the micro SD card. I'll tap upgrade because those sound like problems that we would like to not have. Okay, update was successful and we can tap done. Related items of device, automations, scenarios, etc. There's nothing set up that's related, and there's also logs here. So we can see some logs, someone loitering, and doorbell ringtone, doorbell connection, and disable face recognition. So that's everything there, and then there's a remove accessory and a plugin version of 1.72. So that's about everything inside the native app. Let's close out of the native app and we'll just open up Apple Home. And you see we've got secure camera recording. Your cameras can now capture and store recordings securely in iCloud, access live and recorded footage from any of your devices using a new camera view. We'll tap continue on that, and we see the same functions that we saw before, where we've got streaming and recording. So when home we can stream, or when away we can stream. We do need to have an iCloud Plus subscription in order to support this, but we don't have that on this app, Apple ID. I'll tap continue on that, and we see we've got our cameras right there. We can see that we can drill into the camera. We can talk to the camera there as well. So I've turned that on, and I'm hearing it over on the doorbell unit. We've got a live view, and we can tap that. Nearby accessories. Accessories placed in the same room as this camera will appear here. So that's kind of interesting. So we could do some automations with nearby accessories. If we tap the cog in the top here, we see doorbell, battery level is 0%. charging is no, because it is on a hardwired or hard-powered setup there. It's in our entrance room. Accessories are 1 and it's doorbell. We can back out here. It's added to the home view, so tiles hidden from home view will still appear in the room view. We can add an automation here, so when the entrance doorbell detects motion or stops detecting motion at any time, or when certain people are at home or not home, we can go next and we can do something with any of our other HomeKit enabled accessories there. At the moment, the only other thing is the Apple TV. We've got chime doorbell, so the physical doorbell will sound when someone rings the doorbell. We've got recording options, so those are the HomeKit recording options that we saw before. We've got face recognition, so we can turn on facial recognition from HomeKit, and this actually uses our iCloud photo library to recognize faces. I won't turn that on now. I'll allow my father-in-law to make those decisions later. We've got a camera status light here, and that I'm going to assume is the ring around the button. So we can turn that off, and the ring around the button has turned off now, and I can turn that back on, and the ring around the button is still not there, but if I approach, it may flash. And night vision light, it's currently set to on, which means automatically turn on the built-in night vision light in this camera when it's dark. We've got our details of the manufacturer, the serial number, the model, and the firmware, and we can remove camera from home. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. We can listen to it here as well. So anything that is happening outside now, we're actually getting that audio on the phone. That's pretty much it now for Inside HomeKit. The only thing left to do is going to be, if I just have that on my home screen now, I will press the doorbell button. So the doorbell rang, but I got an alert on the Aqara Home app. I didn't get an alert on Apple Home. Let me see if this is set up to send an alert. Okay, so we've got doorbell notifications on, which is receive notifications when the doorbell button is pressed. So we should be receiving a notification from Apple. Let's make sure that that is set up. Our notifications should be working okay. I wonder if it's just not giving me notifications because I'm recording the screen. Yeah, there we go. So there are notifications there. It's actually just not showing me notifications because I'm recording the screen. That is the only reason that it wasn't showing me those. So these would normally come up on the screen, even if the screen is locked. We would get this notification, and we can leave those on there. And that is more or less it. Okay, so we saw how to set that up with the Aqara app, and the Aqara app also pulls it into Apple HomeKit, which is pretty great. Now, I do need to mention that as it stands right now, the Home Assistant integration is pretty much using the HomeKit controller integration, and that may not work particularly well because this unit is using HomeKit Secure Video, which, at least for now, Home Assistant doesn't support HomeKit Secure Video. At the moment, I'm unclear if you're even going to be able to capture things like button presses, etc., from the unit with the HomeKit controller integration, and I will plan a separate video on HomeKit controller integrations very soon as well. Something that is planned is the Matter update for this unit, which may solve any of those problems with getting the device hooked into Home Assistant moving forward. So it might be something to look forward to once that Matter spec supports the video transfer. So that's the Aqara Smart Video Doorbell G4. I can't say that it's perfect, as it's definitely missing some key features that I'd like to see added. RTSP or OnVIF video support would be nice so that Home Assistant could just read the RTSP stream, for example. A nice Home Assistant integration would be good too, but hopefully the Matter update solves that fairly soon as well. Other reviewers have mentioned that the night vision camera quality leaves a lot to be desired, and it kind of becomes a bit of a pixelated mess to the point that none of the facial recognition features actually work anymore. But it's obviously still going to be better than having nothing at all. All of that said, the price point with these features, it's really hard to look past. The HomeKit integration is going to be fantastic, especially for my in-laws, allowing them to get alerts on their iPhones, no matter if they're home or away, and also on their Apple TV when they're maybe relaxing on the couch and the doorbell rings. As we saw, the future state update for recording to SMB shares is actually already in play. It seems that you do still need the SD card in the equation, but I'm not so keen on that. Ask me about failed SD cards as a YouTuber. The facial recognition features are actually really cool. And if you've set up any recognized faces in your Apple photo library, you can get Apple alerts when certain people arrive. And before, my HomePod even said, it looks like Stuart is at the door. And lastly, the included door chime can be quite loud, and that is actually really great because it does mean that my in-laws especially, they don't have to rely on their smart devices to get alerts when the doorbell rings. It just augments the existing experience. Now, if they decide down the track that they want to start implementing more smart gadgets into their home, I feel like this is going to be a pretty good thin edge of the wedge starting point to kind of whet their appetite for what is possible in the smart home space. Being able to see who or what is at the front door when the doorbell goes off, and getting alerts even just on motion for certain things there as well. Do let me know your thoughts on the Aqara Smart Video Doorbell G4 in the comments section. That's all I have for this video, and I do hope that it helped you in your home automation journey. Be sure to drop a comment down below with a home automation idea you'd like to see me cover in a future video. And don't forget to follow HiveMind Automation on Instagram and Facebook. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up button down below to give it a like. And if you're not already subscribed, now is a great time to think about changing that. While you're at it, if you hit the bell icon, you'll also get notified when I release new videos each week. Lastly, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to support the channel, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description down below. Any contributions you make through Buy Me a Coffee do get put towards making more and hopefully better content for you to enjoy. Don't forget to check out my website, hivemindautomation.com.au. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.